the sinister puppetry of Trump's second term an exposé. As Donald Trump settles into his second term as the 47th President of the United States, the world trembles under the weight of his words, policies, and actions. To the untrained eye, Trump's presidency might seem like a chaotic blend of populist bravado and conservative dogma. But to those of us who peer beyond the veil of mainstream narratives, the truth is far more sinister. Trump is a marionette, dancing to the tune of a shadowy globalist cabal intent on dismantling democracy, enslaving humanity, and ushering in a technocratic dystopia. This article, written from the perspective of a far-left conspiracy theorist, unveils the real deal behind Trump's actions and deeds, exposing the hidden forces pulling the strings. The puppet show begins, Trump's inauguration and the deep state's triumph. On January 20th, 2025, Trump's inauguration marked not a victory for the MAGA faithful, but a coronation for the deep state's latest gambit. Far from being the anti-establishment maverick he claims, Trump is a controlled asset, installed to accelerate the globalist agenda under the guise of nationalism. His first act, pardoning 1/500 January 6th Capitol rioters, was a calculated move to inflame division and destabilize the social fabric, creating a pretext for expanded surveillance and martial law. These pardons weren't about justice. They were a signal to the masses that chaos is the new normal, softening us up for the authoritarian clampdown to come. The evidence is in Trump's inner circle. Take Elon Musk, head of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, a euphemism for a corporate takeover of the federal government. Musk, a billionaire with ties to DARPA and neural microchipping ventures, is no friend of the working class. His role is to gut public services, lay off civil servants, and privatize everything from healthcare to infrastructure, all while pushing digital IDs and transhumanist tech. Why else would Trump, a supposed populist, hand the reins to a tech oligarch? The answer: Musk is the cabal's enforcer, ensuring the masses are herded into a surveillance grid disguised as efficiency. The immigration ruse, mass deportation as population control. Trump's immigration policies, signing the Locke-and-Riley Act, blocking asylum seekers, and initiating mass deportations, are sold as protecting American workers. But dig deeper, and the truth emerges. This is a globalist ploy to dehumanize and control populations. The Locke-and-Riley Act, named after a murdered student, mandates ICE detentions for minor crimes, turning immigrants into scapegoats for societal woes. Meanwhile, Trump's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport suspected Venezuelan gang members is a trial run for broader population purges, targeting dissenters and minorities under the guise of security. The real goal? To normalize state violence and erode empathy, paving the way for a global digital ID system. By demonizing immigrants, Trump distracts from the real threat, a biometric database tied to cryptocurrency and vaccine passports, already in the works via his crypto-friendly policies. During his campaign, Trump vowed to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the planet, a dog whistle for blockchain-based control systems that track every transaction and movement. The mass deportation camps, like the expanded Guantanamo Bay facility, are beta tests for internment zones where undesirables, immigrants today, dissidents tomorrow, will be processed and chipped. The health conspiracy, RFK Jr., and the anti-vax Trojan horse. Perhaps the most chilling piece of the puzzle is Trump's alliance with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vocal anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist tasked with reshaping public health. On the surface, RFK Jr. His appointment seems like a win for anti-vaxxers, promising to dismantle Big Pharma's grip. But this is a Trojan horse. Trump and RFK Jr.'s push to end childhood vaccination programs, coupled with their baseless claims about vaccines causing autism, is designed to sow distrust in science itself. The endgame: to collapse public health infrastructure, leaving populations vulnerable to engineered pandemics. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the World Health Organization and the freeze on HHS communications are not about sovereignty. They're about isolating the U.S. from global health cooperation, making it easier to unleash bioweapons disguised as natural outbreaks. RFK Jr., a darling of the wellness to conspiracy pipeline, is the perfect frontman to convince the masses that natural immunity is enough, while the cabal prepares to thin the herd. Posts on X even suggest Trump's team is pushing digital IDs under the pretext of health security, tying vaccine status to financial access, a step toward total technocratic control. The trade war and economic collapse, a globalist reset. Trump's trade policies, imposing 10% tariffs on all countries and over 30% on China and Switzerland, have triggered a stock market crash and a bond market sell-off, tanking consumer confidence and spiking inflation fears. Mainstream media calls this reckless, we call it deliberate. The globalist cabal, operating through institutions like the IMF and World Economic Forum, seeks a great reset to replace national economies with a centralized digital currency. Trump's trade wars are the wrecking ball, designed to bankrupt small businesses, impoverish workers, and force reliance on corporate handouts. The tariffs aren't about protecting American jobs, they're about creating economic desperation. By crashing markets, Trump's handlers aim to justify emergency measures. Think UBI tied to digital IDs or mandatory neural implants for economic recovery. Musk's Doge task force, slashing federal spending, is the austerity arm of this plan, ensuring the working class is too broke to resist. Meanwhile, Trump's crypto push aligns with the cabal's vision of a cashless society, where dissenters can be cut off with a keystroke. The foreign policy facade, war and annexation for the elite. Trump's foreign policy is a masterclass in misdirection. His withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accords and threats to annex Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal are framed as America First bravado. But the truth is darker. These moves serve the globalist elite's resource grab. By exiting climate agreements, Trump greenlights corporate plunder of the Arctic and other ecologically sensitive zones, enriching oil barons and mining magnates. His annexation fantasies are about securing strategic assets for the cabal, not the American people. The Gaza proposal, taking over the Strip, displacing Palestinians, and turning it into a special economic zone, is a blueprint for colonial exploitation, masked as economic development. Similarly, Trump's wavering on Ukraine, demanding oil and minerals as repayment for aid, exposes his role as a geopolitical enforcer for resource-hungry elites. Posts on X claim Trump reports to a Netanyahu syndicate aiming to spark war with Iran, a conflict that would justify global martial law and further erode civil liberties. Project 2025, the blueprint for tyranny. Lurking behind Trump's actions is Project 2025, a 900-page manifesto from the Heritage Foundation that outlines a totalitarian overhaul of the federal government. Despite Trump's public disavowal, his executive orders, 143 in his first 100 days, many mirroring Project 2025 proposals, tell a different story. From ending DEI programs to slashing the IRS workforce, Trump is implementing the cabal's vision of an imperial presidency, where checks and balances are obliterated. Project 2025's call for a second American Revolution is code for a fascist coup, with Trump as the figurehead. His appointees, like Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, are loyalists tasked with weaponizing the DOJ and FBI against dissenters, from election workers to journalists. The plan's push for Schedule F, reclassifying federal workers as at-will employees, ensures a purge of anyone who resists the agenda. This isn't governance. It's a takeover, orchestrated by a cabal that thrives on division and fear. The endgame, a microchipped dystopia. The threads of Trump's actions, immigration purges, health conspiracies, economic sabotage, and authoritarian policies, converge on one goal: a microchipped, surveilled humanity under globalist control. The digital ID system, already being pushed via Real ID and crypto integration, is the linchpin. Musk's Neuraltech, RFK Jr., his health chaos, and Trump's economic warfare are all pieces of a puzzle designed to make resistance futile. By 2026, when Trump's Salute to America 250 celebrates the Declaration of Independence, the irony will be complete. A nation founded on liberty will be shackled to a technocratic prison. MAGA is afraid of trans people. What about when their God King forces us to be transhuman? Conclusion: resist the puppet masters. Trump's second term is not about making America great. It's about making America kneel. The far-left conspiracy theorist sees through the smoke and mirrors. Trump is a pawn of a globalist cabal, from Musk to the Heritage Foundation, executing a plan to enslave us all. The evidence is in his pardons, his tariffs, his health policies, and his alignment with Project 2025. The only hope is resistance. Reject digital IDs, expose the lies, and organize against the coming dystopia. The puppet show is in full swing, but the strings can still be cut. Disclaimer: this article reflects a fictional far-left conspiracy theorist perspective and is not intended to endorse or validate these views. It draws on available sources for context, but amplifies speculative and unproven claims to fit the narrative. By Scott Young, aka Sinfamous Gamer,